Hey man, say man, this is the A-Man Show and I want y'all to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. J.J. Watt has been one of the best defensive players in the NFL from 2012 and 2015. Since his injuries have been hampering him as he passed his prime. Stay tuned.
I pay my dues now, I'm a made man.
Watt has an amazing career. He's one of the greatest defensive linemen in NFL history and his resume speaks for itself. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler, made the first team All-Pro 5 times, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and 2-time sacks leader. J.J. Watt has been raw since the playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals, where he had a sensational pick six along with 14 tackles and 3.5 sacks in both against the Bengals and the Ravens. You can tell from the games he played he had immense potential, but no one thought he is going to become a dominant force to be reckoned this quickly. He went from a rising star to a superstar on some Luka Doncic type shit. He had one of the greatest seasons for a defensive player in NFL history in the 2012 season. He finished the season with 81 tackles, 20 sacks, 16 passes defended, 4 forced fumbles with 2 fumble recoveries. That is absurd. People often overlook how Watt won Defensive Player of the Year, but he almost unanimously won it as he got 49 out of 50 votes in total. He was the first player in Texas franchise history to win the award, and in the 2012 playoffs, he recorded 9 tackles, 2 passes defended, and 3 sacks in 2 games. Watt was just 23 years old, and he was the best defensive player in the league that later ranked him number 5 in the NFL top 100 players in that year. He and Josh Gordon were both top 10 players in the league in just their second year, but unlike Gordon, unfortunately, it was just getting started for Watt. He had a strong season in 2013 where he had 10 sacks, a dropout from the year prior, along with 8 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, and 7 passes defended. Like I said before, he had a down year because the Texans were 2-14. Watt was worse from last year because the team was anus. He didn't really impact the team that much. Although he is more timid than the year prior, he is still the best defensive lineman in the league. He just wasn't the best defensive player of that season. Despite the Texans being so trash that year, Watt still made a Pro Bowl and still made first team All-Pro. That dog mentality is where he thrived. He wasn't the strongest or the most athletic, just as his teammate Davion Clowney, but Watt had the Mamba mentality, R.I.P. Kobe. In the field, he just wanted to kill you no matter what, and he's willing to outwork anyone who stands against his way. He always had a chip on his shoulder, as he wasn't highly ranked in high school, and although he went to Central Michigan, he wasn't fond of the position that he was in, so he transferred to Wisconsin as a walk-on, and he was dominant. He will later be picked up by the Houston Texans with the 11th overall pick. Since JJ has been dominating, his goal is to win a Super Bowl, and he said that obviously you gotta do a lot of great things and cool opportunities at the Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, we want to be here as a player. That's a goal, and that's why I work so dang hard. Well, JJ, it's not going to be the case. The Houston Texans are one of the worst franchises in the NFL, as they have so many lottery picks who are busts, such as David Carr, who was the first pick of the 2002 draft. He will only play 5 seasons for the team and then released in 2007. They never made it to the AFC Championship once in their franchise history. Time after time, they always choke in the playoffs, whether that is the wild card or divisional round. And J.J. Watt has been so good, so valuable for this franchise that they signed him to a 6-year extension worth $100 million with $30 million guaranteed. Obviously, he deserved that extension because he had another historic season where he recorded 78 tackles, 29 tackles for loss, and 20 sacks. The Texans ranked as a top 10 defense with Watt on the field along with Brian Cushing. They went 9-7 in the regular season but didn't make the playoffs. It didn't hurt his chances of making All-Pro. In fact, he unanimously made first team All-Pro and made second team as a defensive tackle. The man was so dominant in doing things that's never been done in NFL history. He received MVP votes as a defensive player, where he is the first player since 2008 to receive MVP votes as a defensive player. And the reason why he received MVP votes is when he played a little bit tight end, which, let's be honest, it boosted his chances to receive MVP votes. This season alone ranked him as the top player in the NFL top 100 players of 2015. He really deserves it, man. Like, it's obvious, bro. I mean, given how cold and dominant he was in the last 3 seasons of the league, I mean, he deserves it. Following season, same thing, 76 tackles, 8 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, and 17 sacks. The Texans finished the regular season at the same record as the year prior, but they clinched the AFC South and made it to the wild card game, where they got blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs 30-0. Now, this 2015 season he played was the last year of dominance. After the season is over, Watt began to suffer injuries, minor injury that didn't affect him all that much, but after the 2015 season, that's where he started to suffer big injuries. He had to withdraw from the 2016 Pro Bowl game because he suffered a sports hernia and underwent surgery on his groin. By the way, this is not part of the script, but how stupid are the Texans by trading away DeAndre Hopkins for a second stringer in David Johnson? This trade makes no sense whatsoever, man, and this is by far one of the worst trades I have seen watching football, man. I mean, my goodness, bro. Now, anyways, let's get back to the video. Watt will receive his 3rd and last Defensive Player of the Year award, along with his 4th first-team All-Pro honors. He was still among the top 3 players in the league as of 2016, but injuries finally kept up on Watt as he underwent surgery on a herniated disc. Following season, Watt was officially ruled out of the season to undergo another surgery on his back, the same back from the time before. He only played 3 games that season and recorded only 1 sack. The next season, he played only 5 games where he managed to record no sacks whatsoever, but only 15 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. He was limited to 5 games where he suffered a fractured tibia, so he didn't play a full season, not 1 but 2 seasons. In the 2018 season, he had a resurgence and played a full season. He recorded 61 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 7 forced fumbles, and 4 passes defended, and 16 sacks. Now, he wasn't as dominant as he was between 2012 and 2015, but he had a very successful comeback season, and he helped the Texans make the playoffs with an 11-5 record. And although they made it to a wildcard game, the Texans were just no match against the Colts, as Andrew Luck torched the Texans as he threw 222 yards with 2 TDs and only 1 interception. This year was another injury-riddled season for Watt, as he suffered from a torn pectoral and ruled out of the regular season, but he came back for the wildcard game against the Buffalo Bills. As he came back to the game, he was just a shell of his former self, as he wasn't explosive whatsoever. To be honest, he looked like a liability, as he only had 1 sack, and during the divisional round, they were up by 21 points, and then not only they blew a lead, but got mollywopped 51-31. At this point, he is 30 years old, about to turn 31 next week. His injury has dampened his ability to play at an elite level. Not only that, his body is just too banged up to even play at least a Pro Bowl level. I know he wasn't fully healthy last playoffs, but still, even when he was fully healthy, he wasn't the same player. He was just a shell of his former self. And I really feel bad for JJ Watt, as the Texans has failed to surround him with an offense before they even got Deshaun Watson. And even when they did, they didn't have an offense that is consistent enough. Before they have Watson, they have Matt Schaub, who has been inconsistent, and Brock Osweiler, who's straight up anus with a horrible offensive line. Their narrative saying that defense wins championship, and which is true for some extent, but if you have a top player in the league in JJ Watt on defense and you have a mediocre offense, it doesn't matter how productive Watt is. You're not going anywhere without a good offense. Now it's safe to say that he's well past his prime. Like, he's about to turn 31 next week. Like I said before, he is too injury prone at this point, and far as time has hit him. He's for sure a future Hall of Famer. he's one of the greatest defensive players of all time, without a doubt. Now, if he prefers to play 2 more seasons in the league, I'll only see him as a supporting cast player at best. I can subscribe for more content. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram on the description below. This is the A-Man Show, signing out.